This is the JB Show, and it's your life by design. Welcome to the show. It's Your Life by Design, and I'm Joe Abass Bangura. And it's this something that I want to look at today around a powerful asset we have in life. A lot of the time when people fail to achieve their goals in life, they would blame their lack of resources. I didn't have whatever it was, the money, it was the connection, or whatever they didn't have. We put it down to, the lack of resources. That's why people fail to succeed in life. I didn't have my parents to be able to pay for me to go to school. Lack of resources. But one of the things I've discovered in life is that the greatest resource is resourcefulness. And resourcefulness simply means your ability to take what you have already, where you are, to create what you desire but does not exist. And ultimately, when it gets down to the thing, is, that's the reason why you would give two people 1,000 leons, you give 1,000,000 leons, you give people 10,000, 10 million leons, 10,000 leons. Two people, 10,000 leons. If one is resourceful, they turn it to 20,000 leons. And the one that is not resourceful, give them 6 months, they'll be back down to where they started. So it's all about resourcefulness. And so what I'd like to be able to share today is the fact that there's this saying in the Bible that a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. A man's gift is a man's talent. A man's gift, a man's talent. It's what you have in your hands. It's what you have in your hands. And so that's the reason why, whether you're talking about the ace sportsmen, football players and whoever they are, it's their gifts. It's a gift, it's a talent. We all have something. And so it's never the lack of resources, it's our lack of resourcefulness. Yeah, so let's come back to Sierra Leone. Our favorite motherland, the land that we love, Sierra Leone. Somebody was telling a story. It's a derogating one a little. Say that actually, when God was creating the earth and creating Sierra Leone, and he was deciding which minerals would go where. And so the angels stood by his side and see, just how many mineral, components were being put into the small space of land, 27,000 square miles in Sierra Leone in the land. And the angel just asked, the angel asked and said, God, why are you putting this much rich mineral deposit in the small space of land? And then he says the feedback was, okay, you would see the kind of people that actually will be made to be in that land. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you've had stories, whether it's Switzerland or the Gambia, who with nothing, maybe groundnut and tourism, are able to build, higher GDP, and build, because it's never, I'll say it again, it's never the lack of resources. It's our resourcefulness, our ability to create. Tell you another story. Somebody said, if you would give an instruction today for all the money all over the country, Sierra Leone, to be brought into the central bank, every cent, and you would take that and divide it among 8 million Sierra Leoneans equally. Bring all the money, wherever they are, from wherever they are in the country, bring all the money into the central bank and divide it amongst Sierra Leoneans equally. And the story says, give 6 months, the money will go back where it came from. Those who are resourceful enough to create, to use the money to create, would create. And then there are some people who, give 1,000 leons, give 1,000,000 leons, give 2 million, 3 million leons. The next day you will see them, they'll be kitted, fully kitted, head to toe, with the latest gadgets that they have, and that give them 3 months. It's finished. The money goes back, because they are producers, they are consumers in life. Producers produce, people buy from them. Consumers don't produce anything. They are price takers. So they just buy and spend and spend and spend, cannot create anything. It's resourcefulness. What I'd like to do today is just to share with you how this principle of resourcefulness worked in my life. How did I use the principle of resourcefulness to work in my life? In case you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Joe Abass, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've built at least 3 businesses that have each gone on to do between 500,000 and 1.5 million US dollars. For somebody born to illiterate parents and had to take my O levels 3 times, how was I able to achieve this? Well, that's why I created this channel, so that I'll be able to share with you the lessons of the journey of my life that may be useful to you as you step out to create your own dream life, your own life by design. I'll tell you 3 stories. One of them, story number 1. I've shared enough about my Saturday morning workouts at the golf club. And one Saturday morning, I was jogging from the golf club to Family Kingdom. Once I came back, I just look across the sea. There was an ugly patch of grass. I've seen it over and over a couple of weeks. And I decided to do something about this patch of grass that was there. So I said to the security, I see some guys there, they have overalls and they seem to be working to clean the beach. I said, tell them to clear this patch of grass. This is money. Give it to them. If they can clear the patch of grass, this money is for them. The guy came back to me a few minutes later and said, they said, they don't have the tools. They had the tools to do this. And they said, the rake that they have is broken, the shovel that they have is broken. Again, they excuse resources. We don't have the resources. That is why. If you are resourceful enough, you could create the resources that do not exist in your life. That's the message. Now, so I said, once I said, okay, we are not, this is broken, I said, they didn't even try. So I drove my car out. I just parked at the side of the car, and I said, come together. Just come on. I said, I gave made money for you to clean this place. And he said, he came back, oh yeah, the tools are not okay. The tools are not okay. I said, did you actually try to see if you can pull this by your hand? They did not. They did not even try to see if they could. And so I stepped out of my car and I drew that, and I pulled. It didn't take much more strength and energy to be able to start pulling the stuff. And I started pulling down. And I said to them, you see, this is also what I'm saying. It's resourcefulness. It's not amplified that I had a broken rake. I had a broken shovel. Use what you have. Use your hands. That's what I demonstrated to them. Use what you have. That's about resourcefulness. You're using what you have to create what does not exist at all. And it was very interesting because in 20 minutes, they all joined me. And we pulled out all of those things and the place became so clean, and I still gave them the money. And so let's go back to it. It's never a lack of resources that is holding you back. There's always been scarcity in life. It's your lack of resourcefulness, because you really have what should take you forward to the next level. You already have it where you are. With the skills you have, the talent you have, there's so much. If you could point it, if you could see, there's talent. You're not seeing them, the opportunities that are before you. So it's never resources. It's your lack of resourcefulness that is holding you back.
Here's how to buy airtime with AfriMoney for your AfriCell number. Dial *161 *3 *1#. Press 1 to select self. Enter the amount you wish to buy. Press 1 to choose from your normal wallet. Enter your PIN to confirm payment. AfriMoney. Quick and easy.
This is the JB Show, and it's your life by design. Welcome back. So let's go back a bit to this incident that took place between myself and these young people, where the incident that happened between myself and them confirmed a major discovery I made at quite an early age in my life. And that is, what is really holding us back from advancing in life is not the lack of resources, but rather our lack of resourcefulness. It's not about what we do not have, but our failure to make use of what we already have. That is the problem. Because despite not having the best of tools, we were able to clean a patch of garbage and grass within 20 minutes. We did it under 20 minutes. And this experience confirmed a core belief of mine, that if we are determined enough, we can always find a way to create the solutions to the challenges we face. If you are determined enough. And so, but big question, given that I was born a very lazy guy, I was so lazy, my mother even gave me a title of somebody who's crowned lazy. I was the king of the lazy people. And how did I develop this? Well, I shared my story about how I got this transition within 2 weeks of my 22nd birthday. I've shared the story of how I went across to help this young man, Santigi Kuruma, my mentor, help him in his house. I became a house help to him. I didn't have money to go back to school, but what did I have? I have strength, I have energy, I have time. And the guy would go to work and I'll be home. There's nothing to do. I used the time that I had, the energy that I had, that I could, to be able to make sure I can help this guy at home, make him comfortable, wash his clothes, iron them very well, make him comfortable when he comes back home, wash his motorbike very well. And then that's what I had. And I used what I had. That's resourcefulness. And what happened? When it was time for me to go back to school, he paid my way to go back to school. That's the story about resourcefulness. It's not about what you do not have. It's about you not making use of what you have already. I told you I was going to tell stories. Yes, stories, tell you another story. Some of you may not know, but I used to be a musical superstar. I was in my choir. You must have seen some photos with me on social media, and I had accordion. I could play music. In the kingdom of the blind, they say the one-eyed is king. I wasn't a professional. I still can't read music. I can't read the scale in the music, but in Limba Church, in the church where I grew up, I was a star. I was a born star. So I don't have money to go back to school, but I could play music. And I played it to the best that I'm able to do. There was a guy, blessed memory, Francis J. Issa. Francis J. Issa, what's his son's name? There's a popular producer. What's his name in the country? Saisa. Saisa's dad. So I'm saying this, so I'm really giving shout out to Saisa, his dad. Saisa's father was part of my journey in life. Once we started doing these music presentations, blah, 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 I would sing so well. He looked at me and I admired me and he said, young man, you're so gifted in music. And you know what happened? After we did the musical presentation, he called me afterwards to say, what's going on in your life? How can I help you? I used my musical gift. I wasn't going out there to say, hey, sorry for me. I'm looking for people to sorry for me, to pity me and have pity on me. And so that's not why I went there. But no, I was using my gift, what I have. It's not about what you do not have. It's about you not using what you already have to create what you desire, what you need. That's where your problem is. And he helped me in many, many ways to get through my Association of Accounting Technician exams. I don't even have the time to share that. Story number 4. Is this story number 3 or story number 4? How did I build Life by Design as a TV show and build Life by Design as a company? Let's start. It was sheer resourcefulness. In 2011, I had no camera, I had no staff, I had no experience presenting or producing TV shows. I had no money to even pay my production fee, no money to even pay for the airtime on television. I had nothing. Now, so to get the cash resources, I had to do a deal. I had to do deals with airtime and production. I spoke to Africell, and Africell is still sponsoring the show. I then went to Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, then now Local Commercial Bank, to say, okay, I have this show I want to put on air. This is what is doing challenging. They've already been getting the story. So I said it was easy for me to now make the transition to say, if you could pay, I just want to produce. I want money to... Life by Design had never made money as a show. Never. It was never intended to make money as a show, but to just cover the production cost and airtime. That's all we went out for. These people paid because they saw the quality there. I was using what I had to create what does not exist. And so I got the sponsors. Let's talk about equipment and production. Now, I started with George Lewis and Josephus Mama, blessed memory. There's another George Lewis. He was Beaconsfield. I don't know whether his name is George Lewis also, but he stayed at Beaconsfield. He was the third, and then Pastor Eamomo. Walked through a lot of these guys. We had no equipment by ourselves. How did I get my first staff? The first staff was a journalist. The first Life by Design staff was a journalist, Francis. Employed Francis. Francis was doing 500 euros a month. Life by Design had nothing. I would at the end of the month, I would take from my salary and I'll write a check and pay it into the Life by Design account because I was institutional minded. It's already from day one, it was set up. as to grow as an institution. And so I would write a check, pay it in the account, and pay Francis his salary. Almost like it's in a fake faker. Just write the check, get it, and say, no, I was building an institution from day one with my resourcefulness, just being resourcefulness. And what happened? 13 years later, Life by Design became what it is. 90% of people who know me in the country knew me for Life by Design, knew me for the show, the impact. I'm talking right up to parliamentarians at the highest level. I've met presidents in this country. I've met the people at the highest level in this nation. And they would all tell the stories of Life by Design, created from my resourcefulness. And the last story I would tell is the Life by Design story itself, how it became a company. 2012, it was registered as a not-for-profit. Open the bank account, have the finance manager at the microfinance bank. Some of you know me for ACTB Savings and all. I had the finance manager act as signatory to the bank account. I would write the personal checks, like I said just now, deposits to run. I was funding 100%. 2013, I got funding from Paul Skiller. Paul Skiller is the founder for ACTB. He gave me £10,000 to buy the first equipment, and the only reason he did it is because of the diligence I brought to the bank. A lot of the time people say, Joe and get the bank, and Joe gets the bank. They don't even know. But it goes back to this principle I've shared. I have never had a job given to me to do that I haven't handled as if it was my father's property. I was using what I had. I was using my wisdom. I was using my diligence to build the bank. From zero, that bank was established. It's now one of the biggest deposit-taking microfinance bank in the country. Paul Skiller saw my faithfulness to what he had given me to do. He said, Joe, I will help you build Life by Design. £10,000. That's why we bought our first camera. We bought the, gadgets, just camera and everything that we needed. And, between 2015 and 2020, a further $100,000 was poured into this by Paul Skiller. Where did it start? Me using what I had to create what did not exist. The last valuation that was done for this company, for what it is, this company with the group was valued over $2 million US. That's what it was valued. From sheer resourcefulness. There was nothing in the beginning. But I created what you now see with what was in my hands.
This is the JB Show, and it's your life by design.